Welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect. We're on a ship somewhere in the Gorgon system, which is in the Argos Rho cluster. We're still chasing Rachni around. Yeah, we found quite a number. They're on Altahi and Netmos. They're in 6 Theta. And in both cases we found evidence that kind of pointed back to this very spot, this ship here that we're on. The associated assignment is called UNC Depot Sigma 23, and it says that a supply ship that came from this depot is likely where the Rachni infestation originated. So we're hoping to finally finish the job and not, basically stop the advance of Rachni throughout the whole galaxy, which would be really good. Let's take a peek at the map. Yeah, it's typical assignment layout here, of course. Small entrance room, big room for fighting, possible loot, with likely loot and lore in the back. It doesn't matter whether you're in a mine, or a bunker, warehouse, or a ship. They're all the same. But it's okay. Alright, and I'm going to open that door, because I happen to know that there's a timed element to this mission at the end, and I don't want to run out of time. Alright, so the question is, what are we going to face here? Big Rachni, medium Rachni, little Rachni. Don't know, let's see. Medium. Alrighty. Yeah, look how much damage those little guys can do. That barrier did not really help you there. More high explosive rounds. Yeah, that's what I thought. Some more coming this way. Kind of fast. Got them both. Those high explosive rounds. Now, the fun part about high explosive rounds is the ragdoll effect. Though those guys die instantly, no matter what kind of force you put on them. So you don't really see them flying. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see the full effect of those things later. Anyway, I'm not sure this is a nod to Infocom, but this layout of these crates is a maze. And it's like every game has to have a maze, right? At least that was the case in the 80s. When games were played with text. And as always the case with mazes, there's stuff to be found in corners. Oh, I like that. Harmonic Council. Let's have a peek. I don't have a bioamp, but Liara does. Oh, but she has a Casa, so that's not going to be... It's a better cooldown, but I'm not going to give up all those other bonuses for that. Rex has Certa, so this is a lot better. Easily trade in the power for the extra cooldown and duration. Right. Always happy to improve my biotics. Ooh, a grenade upgrade. I haven't seen a high explosive one in a while. Yeah, it's been a while. High explosive 4. I'll reach out that right away. And we get lots more damage, force, and radius. Yay. More high explosive rounds. We only needed one. That is the downside of Tier 3. You spend a lot of time collecting a lot of junk. And the thing you want, which is frictionless materials and medical exoskeletons, they don't come around quite as frequently. So hopefully we'll see some of those dropping soon. Since the mission is timed, it's a very good idea to go and get as much loot as you can before the timer starts. Heavy armor for Krogan, but it's ERCS, so no thanks. Inferno round's 9, but I think Liara already has that equipped. Mostly tier 1 stuff. Happy to get the XP though. Alright, so the lower portion is over here. Uh-oh. Yeah, we just came from X-57 not long ago. We saw one of those. And it would have taken out Kate if we hadn't let Ballot go. So this thing, I'm sure, could just easily take us out. And I'm certain it's not attached to this terminal, right? There should be no danger just touching this thing,
Personal data recorder for Major Elena Flores.
Luckily, that happened to be true.
Play the first entry.
Sigma 23 is almost fully operational. The barracks and storage lockers are complete, and we've begun stocking the munitions. It's highly unlikely the Alliance will patrol in the nebula. I expect our only risk will be from pirates, and who'll believe them? Looks like we'll have space for 2 reinforced platoons of Cerberus commandos.
Cerberus? Is that a corporation?
Indeed, that's a decent question. I mean, Rex should already know about Cerberus, just from what Kohoku's told us, but yeah, we don't really know that much about them. Let's go ahead and hear the rest of these first before we reflect on what we know.
Play the second entry.
The package arrived today for field testing. I'm told they're fundamentally similar to the units being developed on Noveria. They promise this batch will be stable. Something about them developing in proximity to the master control unit. We detected some pirates setting up an anchorage in a neighboring system. I think we'll try deploying them there first.
Since we have done Noveria, we kind of understand what she was saying there, don't we?
Play the last entry.
They've escaped containment. Clever bastards. We treated them like animals. We should have treated them like POWs. They're spreading. Boarding the supply ships and sending them to random destinations. They'll be all over the cluster in a week. General, if you recover this message, my advice is, screw the Rachni. They're too smart. Use one of the other projects. Flores, signing off. For the final time.
This is a familiar story. A failed experiment with the Rachni. Nice to see humans are consistently stupid.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that.
Let's go.
The escaped Rachni definitely came from this station, though the motives behind this Cerberus group are vague. To prevent further contamination, arm the station's scuttle charges and evacuate to the Normandy. I'm not so sure the motivations are that vague. Let's download the logs. So we leveled up, which is always a pleasure, but journal updated as well. An organization called Cerberus is responsible for the Rachni infestations. In order to prevent further problems, activate the station's scuttle system and evacuate to the Normandy. Isn't that interesting? And here I was just about to blame Binary Helix for this. It turns out to be something else. Of course, we can now do that. But let's, we're not under any time crunch yet, so I want to kind of reflect on what we do. You know, but of course, because I'm going to forget otherwise, let us level up. Really nothing else to do with Liara there, except improve first aid. And we're finally chasing barrier with Rex. Alright, so, yeah, Cerberus has come up again. Not expected in this case, was it? I mean, on Noveria, we never saw anything that's pointed towards Cerberus. The honest to God only reference we have had for Cerberus is what Kohoku's told us. And what did he tell us? He said that they were an Alliance Black Ops organization. They had really high levels clearances, so they would have been reporting to just very specific people, and not very many in the Alliance would necessarily know what they were doing. Probably not very many would even know they existed. One of those Area 51 type deals. But then, apparently, they went rogue. They decided to split away. And you have to wonder how the Alliance dealt with that, though I'm not sure that's ever revealed or not. But anyway, they're off on their own, and Kohoku learned that they were doing genetics experiments, trying to create a super soldier. Now, my first time I heard that, I was thinking it's got to be humans, right? I mean, an Alliance organization would potentially deem the Alliance's efforts to, I don't know, protect the Alliance's interests as being too weak, and that would be a really good reason to go rogue. You basically say, screw these first contact rules, per se, whatever, and, do a humanity first type thing. But, there's no reason that it has to be humans that would be the super soldiers, right? If you could find another species to do your bidding for you and protect humans, then, wow, how great would that be? And that seems to me there's a possibility here. Just thinking out loud. So anyway, let's match up what we've learned from Kahoku with what we know about what happened on Noveria. There we had Binary Helix as the only company name that was attached to everything there. I mean, they leased the entirety of Peak 15, so that was their operation entirely. And yet, it's all company based, right? So companies do what companies do, and that is they create something new, hopefully something exciting, and they create a prototype of it, and they present it to the world, and the world says, hey, you know what, I'd like 100 of those. Now, not the world. I mean, somebody in the world will say, you know what, I want you to build those for me, and I'm willing to pay for it. And then the company, once under contract, will get to work and do the final design work and the production work and then deliver the product, right? So that's one thing that we never learned at Noveria. Who was Binary Helix working for? Who was the buyer there? And that was a question that really wasn't even brought up. And so now it's possible, right? I mean, doesn't it make sense that Cerberus might have been the one that had contracted Binary Helix to do this for them? So that's interesting. Also notice that the timeline here is not really recent, right? I mean, from what Flores told us, the batch we're seeing here is batch 2.0, right? This is the Rachni that were somehow developed in proximity to the Master Control Unit. Presumably the Queen didn't actually raise them. The babies were probably like in the next cell over or something. The notion there would have been potentially they communicate through sound, therefore the sound could pass, but we don't want them seeing, touching each other, whatever. I don't know anything about how the Rachni raised their young, but that strikes me as the 2.0 solution. Let's see if this works, and then send it out for testing. Presumably, of course, batch 1.0 came out of the box completely insane, right? And somehow being closer made them a little bit better, but it wasn't enough, wasn't good enough, right? So Flores laid down her life, presumably, in this effort. Don't feel sorry for her at all, but yeah, I mean, this all kind of makes sense to me, except for one little detail, and that is the fact that this ship is still here. So we got to Noveria, we did our thing. Cerberus had to have been involved already by the time we got there, and they would have, once the containment breach occurred, they would have picked up and left, right? It's like, abort the mission. And take every trace of evidence of our being here with us. And that was they did a decent job of that, but then why not finish the job here? I mean, I'm actually asking, I don't know what Cerberus's motives would have been to keep this ship around. I mean, we didn't even have to hack this terminal. It wasn't wiped. It was, we're in possession of better information than what Kahoku had. And Kahoku fears for his life. So, yeah, I don't know. As story missions go, this is probably some of the best lore in this game. I'm sorry, as side quests go. I mean, this is as intriguing to me as the whole Serengeth thing, honestly. So, in a sense, Daniel thinks, wow, I mean, maybe the Batarians are smaller fish in the ocean than he thought. Maybe there's bigger fish to start thinking about, start watching. So, anyway, oh dear, we've got 70 seconds, and guess what? Yeah, more enemies. Yikes! Oh, really? What is happening here? Okay.
Charging up.
Now I'm ready.
Yeah. I think Mass Effect 2 is going to be a lot of me running around like a chicken with my head cut off. It's just not going to be fun. There are certain things that I can't practice very well, and that's one of them. And that's why I wanted this door open, because I honestly didn't know how long that was going to take. But we survived, we got through it. Oh, the timer actually goes away for the last 10 seconds. I guess they want you to be surprised when the thing blows up in your face. Alright, presumably we got away from the Destroyed ship. Hopefully this now will be marked complete. You've cleared the base of Rachni and discovered that this was another of Cerberus's secret experiments. At least they won't be breeding Rachni anytime soon. So that's interesting too, because I think we don't know of any other experiments by Cerberus. I mean, just what Kohoku told us, right? That they are creating a super soldier, but I mean, this is the first time we've had any real proof. Gemini Amp 10, that won't be, no. Nice cooldown bonus, but I'm not gonna give up the others. And nothing else here I want. Alright, so yeah, we are now done with Rachni work, hopefully. Shouldn't be any major story mission or assignments or missions with them in it anymore, which Daniel is very relieved by. Alright, so we have a kind of I mean, we have more work to do in Argos Row, but there's a couple things I want to do real fast here first. Because Rex has specific dialogue that's related to missions, like Vermeer has a specific post-Vermeer dialogue. There's actually there's like an extra bit of dialogue with Rex, so I actually like grabbing that. I mean, just making sure we don't miss anything with Rex, so I'm going to engage with him again right now, in between story missions here.
Shepard,
So, you'd rather be a merc than help your people?
I'm a fighter. It's what I do.
Aren't you at all worried about what will happen to the Krogan?
What the hell do you want me to do about it, Shepard? I'm tired of sticking my ass on the line and getting nothing for it.
So you decided to go your own way?
I decided killing for credits was better than killing for a lost cause. I'm not like you, Shepard. I'm no hero. Bottom line, killing for credits simplifies things.
Exactly. That's why I hired you.
And that's why I joined, so I wouldn't have to deal with them. But there's a lot of Krogan mercs out there. I'm always running into them. Half the time I'm being paid to kill them. But that's just part of the job. You don't get to pick who your enemies are.
So we are in Argos Road now, so we're fairly close to being able to pick up his armor, but I think if you ask for it, if you ask again, I think he'll just say that he's still waiting for us to do that.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
I already told you, Shepard. I promised to find my family's armor. Other than that, there's nothing left for me there.
Yeah, and this is new.
How long have you been a merc?
Long enough. I took my first contract right after I left my home system. It's good work if it doesn't kill you.
I get the feeling you enjoy your work.
Sure. You get to see the galaxy on someone else's credits, and most days end with a good fight. I've tried more organized fighting, private armies and such, but it gets too messy. I fight best on my own, or in very small groups. I don't like people relying on me, and I bloody well don't like relying on them.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
I like Rex. Yeah, I don't want to miss any of his dialogue, so... Also, since we picked up Liara kind of late, let's go ahead and have another chat with her.
I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
Maybe we could pick up where we left off. You were telling me about your interest in the Protheans.
Actually, I think I was talking about my interest in you, and making a fool of myself in the process. As I said, I am not used to dealing with people, especially humans. I did not really know much about your species when we first met, Shepard. I found it hard to take humanity seriously. Your kind always seemed so rushed and high-strung.
Well, we don't have the luxury of time. And Asari can live for 1,000 years. We're lucky if we hit 150.
That is true. At first I thought that was a weakness of your species. After spending time with you and your crew, however, I think it may actually be an advantage. You humans are creatures of action. You pursue your goals with an almost indomitable determination. It is an admirable trait, but also an intimidating one.
You're scared of us?
Unfortunately, the rest of the galaxy sees humanity as something of a bully. You run over anyone in your path to get what you want. It is up to people like you to change their minds, Shepard.
I'm doing the best I can, Liara.
There is a reason the Council chose you to become a Spectre. They saw something special in you. The best of what humanity has to offer. I looked into your history. I know what you did during the Blitz. It was a remarkable display of courage and heroism.
You didn't need to go behind my back. I would have told you whatever you wanted to know.
I apologize, Commander. After our last conversation, I was afraid I would say something stupid again. I wanted to know more about you. To understand what made you into the man you are. There is something compelling about you, Shepard.
Your tone of voice changed just a little bit there, didn't it?
Are you sure you're interested in me? Or is it my visions of the Protheans?
I admit, your connection to the Protheans had something to do with my initial interest, but it has grown beyond that. You intrigue me, Shepard, but I was not sure if it was appropriate to act on my feelings. I thought there might already be a relationship between you and Chief Williams.
You're an alien. Daniel is just not like that.
I care about Ash. A lot.
I thought so. Still, I feel as if there is also some attraction between us, Shepard.
And here the game is betraying kind of the foolishness of having a binary thing where you basically say, yes, I'm attracted to you, or no, I'm not. But there's 3 choices here, right? So, and one of the issues is, and I don't know, I haven't tested this, whether this was fixed or not, but I think if you select this Renegade one where you tell her, no, you're wrong, I think you actually still end up in a relationship with her. At least you did at one time. So if you really want to avoid it, you have to pick the neutral. And if you want to pursue, obviously you pick the Paragon. I really hate the confrontation scene between Liara and Ashley, so I'm not going to pretend to be interested in both of them.
I'm not interested in you in that way, Liara.
This is very embarrassing for me, Commander. Please, let's talk about something else.
So that's kind of a big deal. That ends permanently any chance of a relationship with Liara, if that was what you wanted, and there's nothing new there, so I guess we're done here.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
And if you are chasing the absolute highest possible XP, that was a mistake then, because there's now a certain codex entry that I will be denied. Something like a sorry biology or something. She only talks about if you're actually pursuing a relationship with her. So, oh well. Also, speaking of codex, before we really close the book here on the Rachni, if we were to, I'm sorry, not on the Rachni, yeah, but also on Cerberus. If you look in the codex, and if you look even on the wiki where all the codex can be laid out, there's no reference to Cerberus anywhere, which shouldn't be surprising, right? Because, I mean, Kahoku knows a little something, I know a little something, but that's about it. I mean, it would be surprising if there was, entry in the codex for Cerberus, because they just should not be public by any means. So, I mean, basically, we're going to be the ones that's going to write the story on Cerberus, right? So, anyway, that is that for now. Alright, so we're going to continue we're going to finish the work here in Argos Row, and that means we're going to head off to Hydra next. Alright, looks like 5 planets here of Armalis. Armalis has a thick atmosphere of nitrogen and helium. Its surface is scorching hot and mainly composed of alumina with deposits of borax. The planet has an extensive network of subterranean caves formed over the millennia by volcanic processes. In these relatively cool areas, some primitive life has developed, which is very cool because on the fringes there, as you get closer to the surface, it should be just too much to handle. That's pretty hot. Metgos is where we're headed, so we'll skip that for now. Thayer. Thayer is a large gas giant with traces of chlorine and sodium in its atmosphere. It also has a significant amount of water vapor in the clouds of its upper atmosphere. Thayer was struck by an asteroid at least 12 kilometers in diameter within the last 100 years. The superheating caused by the impactor's atmospheric passage created a large bank of vicious storms along the equatorial band. That's pretty neat. Is that inspired by the Shoemaker Levy 9 comet that hit Jupiter? Were there storms that came out of that? I don't know. Con Room. Con Room is a small rocky world with a trace atmosphere of methane and krypton. Its surface is mainly composed of magnesium and silicates with deposits of carbon. Con Room was the site of the warlord Shiager's defeat by Turian peacekeeping forces during the Krogan rebellions. While this band was not especially powerful, Shiager was a female warlord, and one of the few remaining fertile females at that. She had, through viciousness and cunning, parlayed her unique value into a position of power. Krogan males competed for the right to join her band and lie with her. Does that mean tell tall tales with her? Probably not. When Shiager's death was announced, vengeful male Krogan admirers near and far swore blood oaths against the participating Turian crews. In the end, several thousand of the Turian participants were killed in open combat or through assassination. To this day, many Krogan proudly proclaim that they have the blood of Shiager. I absolutely love that story. That is neat. Don't suppose we're going to see any more Shiager-related things in the game, I don't know. Scans of the planet revealed dangerous levels of radiation coming from orbit. Chief Engineer Adams conducted further scans and discovered the remains of an ancient warhead marked with the Parthia colony insignia. Right. Siba. Siba is a standard Neptune-type gas giant. The upper cloud decks of its hydrogen-helium atmosphere tinted a Duranic blue by traces of methane. It's funny, the short paragraphs I can't read. Did I miss something? Were there supposed to be 3 items here? I can take a peek real quick. No. No. Okay, sorry. Never mind. Metgos.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
General distress call from the Sacred Angel Medical Transport. Critical system failure. Losing power. An emergency landing. Argos. Communications failing. Life support and emergency transponder. Won't last. Please hurry.
He seems fairly calm and collected. Anyway, level T2 heat hazard. Metgos is a large terrestrial planet with an atmosphere of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Its hot surface is mainly composed of nickel with deposits of potassium and heavy metals. It is a mineralogical treasure trove with concentrated heavy elements constantly being brought to the surface by volcanic activity. Metgos is inhospitable and dangerous, and expeditions must be well prepared to survive any length of time. With its high mass, heat-trapping clouds and constant volcanic venting, Metgos seems well on its way to becoming a Venusian pressure cooker world, which means it's going to be even worse and a lot hotter than this at some point. Anyway, seems to be a distress call coming from down there, so let's give Liara and Caden and Rex a little rest. Let's take Caden and Garrus. A lot of tech strength here. And a little biotics, of course. Yeah, level 2 hazard. So no matter what we do, we're going to have to be careful of damage done by the hazard here. So anyway, we're going to defer all that to the next episode to level people up as well. All right, we'll pick up the story from right here next time.